So as far as the equipment is concerned, so, to start, I have a cast iron pan, which I think is one of the most unsung heroes in the kitchen.
Agreed.
So so when you sear, you want to make sure that you could also do this in a Dutch oven. But with the cast iron pan, I want it to heat up for, I don't know, 5-ish minutes before I actually put the meat on the cast iron pan. I want to make sure that this thing is hot so that when I actually put down the meat, you can hear it. You can just see like the sizzling happen. So if you saw me step away during the interview with Jamie, that was because I wanted to preheat my cast iron pan. So for this episode, we're going to do a flank steak. So I went to the store today. I got a grass-fed flank steak from my local co-op. And the thing that you're going to want to do before you sear it is take it out of the fridge. So you want to sort of let it come to as close to room temperature as you possibly can. And then you're going to want to pat dry any moisture from the meat itself, because you don't want any of that moisture to get in to interfere with the searing of the meat. So then once your pan is hot, I'm going to go ahead and grease it up with some oil or bacon grease or whatever you want. And so what I'm doing here is once I put that oil down, I'm going to come over and I'm going to salt up my flank steak here. So I'm going to hold it up, get a nice even spread.
Now, is that just plain salt, Nick?
So one of the things I do, Troy, is I have a little salt jar next to my oven or next to my stove. I mix about 1 part of kosher coarse salt, and so 4 parts kosher salt to 1 part pepper. So I have a mix.
Okay, nice. Would you ever add like garlic or any other seasoning in there for that case, or not really?
Yes, that is a possibility. If I'm kind of old school in some regards, where like it just depends on what I'm seasoning, right? Like if I'm going to be seasoning up a soup that I've already used garlic in, I don't know if I really want garlic salt or garlic powder in there. I'm not going to say it's going to alter the taste too much, but I just want to make sure that like when I'm balancing flavors that I'm hitting the fat, acid, salt, and sweet.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure so the pure salt in that is what I'm really kind of going for.
Yeah.
Even pepper's a little bit cheating. So when you come to your cast iron pan, when you know it's ready to sear, you're going to sort of see it shimmer, and then I'm going to go ahead and take my meat and I'm going to throw it down on the pan. And when I throw it down on the stove, you want to make sure that they're not touching. You want plenty of space in between. So as that sears, I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of my ingredients all set. So I have a little bit of a little frisee that I'm going to put together here. So I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil, but I forgot to get my ingredients. So a little olive oil. Apple cider vinegar. little salt and pepper. And then from there, I can kind of, what I just mentioned is I could add a little bit of sweet to it. I could add a little honey from here. And I'm also, Troy, your favorite, add just a touch of hot sauce.
All right. Sneak that in there. So a little joke, Jamie. I mentioned that I love hot sauce and everything, but Tiff always says, you better try this dinner first before you put that hot sauce on there. And so Nick's been sneaking hot sauce in the middle.
So then I'm going to give it a little bit of a taste. So what I'm looking for with this little Plat Frisé is the salt, the fat, the acid, and the sweet. So if that feels like a really good balance for you, I'm going to go ahead and plate it. I'm going to plate up the greens. And we're going to take a minute. So we'll check in on the meat. So what I'm looking for is I want to be very, very, I don't want to flip it too soon. That's the thing that I've always seen people, they want to keep flipping. So be very patient. And is that my bad? Am I coming back really bad?
I think it might be.
I apologize about that. How do I fix it?
Just smile.
We'll just cook in silence.
That's okay.
Look at that. Beautiful.
That looks good, man.
I've got a judge over here. Jamie's cooked so many steaks. I'm like, I cannot mess this up right now.
I'm not judging. I have a flank steak marinating right now, so.
Oh, beautiful. So as the steak is cooking, another thing that I like to do is, you know, if I wanted to get some grapes or oranges, I would get that ready. We're going to let the steak rest, and that's going to be my opportunity to fry my egg. So we're going to wait just a little bit longer on the steak. Oh, the other thing I like to do is I like to add a little crunch to my frisé. So I'm going to add some chopped pistachios. I like things with texture. Like, how am I always thinking about adding just a little bit of texture to my salads, to my dishes, to rice bowls. So some kind of crunch in there really helps, I think really adds a dynamic to the dish as well as fills it out as far as the experience and what it does for the experience of the food in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we've got a good sear going on. Next thing I want to do is if you can kind of see, you want to try to get all four sides seared up to try to lock in that moisture. So if you can see that this part was kind of red, I want to kind of give it a nice sear. So the thing about searing is you want to try to lock in the moisture as much as you possibly can. So searing as many sides as you possibly can, so that when you actually let it rest, the juices don't come pouring out of the meat. So
now, Nick, what is your preference on like how it's done? So like our family is like medium rare. When I grew up as a kid, it was like the rarest piece of steak possible. Like my dad would say, if I could just pull this thing off of the cut and just eat it straight up, still bleeding. Like my dad was that type of
so
dad.
just knock the hooves off and put it on my plate.
Oh, man,
That
is how he loves his steak, man. Just barely cooked at all. And so I'm just curious, like, as a chef, you are. What are your preferences, or what are your what do you usually cook with or cook it like?
I'm usually right around medium rare, like right at medium rare, like no higher. I know I've got a beef farmer on me watching over me, so if I go above that, I'm going to be
They all should be in the medium rare, closer to the rare side.
Yes,
That's
closer
just
to
me.
the rare side.
They got to be
That
warm.
being said, one of the ways you can kind of there's a couple ways you can tell when the meat is at your temperature. You get a meat thermometer. Another thing you can do is I like to press on the meatiest part of the steak. And if it has a little bit of buoyancy, then I know I'm kind of right where I want to be. If it's really firm, I probably overcooked it. And you can't really overcook it, or you can't go back and undercook it. So I always like to aim under, because when I take this off the pan and I've seared all 4 sides and I let it rest, it's still going to cook like a little bit. So I'm going to pull it off, and then I'm going to go ahead and start on my egg, because I'm going to let that steak rest.
Hey, Nick, when you were searing there, did you have your burner on at all, or was it already heated to a temperature and you just let it cook?
So as far as the I forgot to turn my my nonstick on, so that's why I'm going to have to stall. But no, the burner was on the whole time for the cast iron. Yeah, so this is kind of where we're at here as far as like our finished product. I know it's really tempting to want to cut into it and taste it, but I'm going to tell you that patience pays dividends in this sense, because like I said, you're really letting, like, the meat is still sort of cooking inside right now, and the moistures, all that stuff is going to help with the taste of the meat when we're done here. So Troy, what's your favorite brunch recipe?
Well, I'm big on sprouts, so it would typically be for me actually eggs over easy with sprout and avocado would be my go-to. The boys love breads and stuff, right? So Trevin's is going to be something similar to that, but would be a bagel probably underneath it, as well as Tiff and Kellen.
The bagel man himself, huh?
Yeah, the bagel man. I swear. I was telling Nick, yeah, Trevin is just always asking for bagels. So
That's funny.
All right, so I've got the egg going. Give it a little salt on top. So what I might go ahead and do while I wait for that to get done is I'm going to go ahead and slice up my flank steak. So when I'm slicing up flank steak, I want to make sure that I'm cutting against the grain. So if you can kind of see, whoa, I just spilled all over. So there's a piece of the flank steak where you can see the grain coming this way. So I don't want to cut this way. I want to cut against it. So a little bit of a pro tip there, right, Jamie?
Yes.
Ooh, I think I got her just right, Jamie.
It looks beautiful from what I can see.
I love how you're handling that, Nick. It's like you have a filleted fish on there, and you're just like you're laying your fillets out.
All right. So now that we're here, I'm gonna just lay out my steak on top. Might as well give it a taste check. Mmm.
Maybe next time you come to Michigan and just do this for us so we can try too.
Yes. So I think we did a really nice job here. We're probably right about just slightly rare in the middle and really nice on the outside there.
That looks incredible, man. So you're going to top that with an egg now, too?
Yes. And so what I might do right here is actually take some finishing salt, whether that be like a black truffle finishing salt or some kind of Maldon sea salt, something kind of flaky. And then I'll come over, put my egg on top.
Mm.
And so then what will happen is that you'll, like when that egg breaks, that's also going to be a part of your dressing. Another really great topping for this might be a little hollandaise sauce. That would be the bee's knees right there. But there you go. So you have the Ridgeview Saturday brunch special right here.
It looks beautiful.
Or some fresh herbs, some chives, parsley, something, you know, even if it was that kind of that simple. So it doesn't have to get crazy. Troy, I know you'd probably be dumping some hot sauce on here, and that's okay too. So
yeah, just a dab. You built it into the recipe. We unfortunately can't do that because the kids would never eat it then. So I have to wait till the end.
So there you have it,
man. And what are we calling this dish for our listeners? We'll obviously put that in the recipe, but
we'll call it the Ridgeview Sunrise Special.
All right, I love it. Cool.
You got to have a cup of coffee in your hand when you do it, right, Jamie?
That or a mimosa, one or the other.
Or a mimosa. There you go.
Yes.